Two best friends plan a simple trip to the countryside, but instead of working on a farm, they're drugged, chained, and sold into a trafficking ring. What their captors don't realize is that these lambs are about to turn into predators, and no one who hurt them will be left standing. The film begins with two best friends, Katie, who is more uptight, and Sloane, who is carefree and flirty. They are excited about an out-of-town trip, planning to work for a month at eco-field organic farms to save money for a shopping spree in New York City. The next morning, Katie's uncle Jason, a local cop, picks them up. They spend the night at his place with his girlfriend before heading to the farm. While settling in, Sloane suggests they use fake names in town. She calls herself Heather, while Katie chooses Ripley. The following day, Jason drives them to the station to catch their bus. Being protective, he tells them to use a daily safe word in case they get into trouble. Katie must text him with a different code word each day, following the letters of the alphabet so he knows they're safe. The first safe word is apple. After Jason leaves, Katie and Sloane wait for their bus at a cafe. There, they meet two local brothers, Jed and Lucas, who join their table. Using their fake names, Sloane calls herself Heather, and Katie calls herself Ripley. The brothers offer them a ride, and though Katie hesitates, Sloane convinces her to accept. The men drive a blue truck, but instead of heading to the farm, Jed deliberately passes it. They finally arrive at the brothers' house, where their strange mother greets them and offers tea and pie. Katie texts her uncle the safe word, assuring him she's fine, while the girls eat and drink. Soon, their vision blurs, and they realize that the food is drugged. Realizing the danger, Katie and Sloane panic and try to run. Jed and Lucas knock the girls unconscious and drag them back inside. The next day, Katie and Sloane wake up chained in the woods. Jed tells them this will be their new home, complete with a bed, clothes, and a toilet. Soon, Jed's boss, Boris, arrives. He checks Katie's phone and realizes they lied about their names. He also notices the word apple in her text. Under pressure, Katie admits it's a safety word for her uncle. Later, as the girls prepare to wash under makeshift showers, the town sheriff arrives. Instead of helping, he reveals he's part of the trafficking ring. Armed and abusive, he assaults Katie before leaving. Shaken, Katie is comforted by Sloane. Meanwhile, Uncle Jason grows suspicious after Katie sends the same safe word 2 days in a row. Back at the camp, Jed and Lucas bring in a new customer, a scruffy man, who chooses Sloane and takes her into a trailer. After hearing from the sheriff that Katie's uncle is FBI, Jed, Lucas, and Boris realize the girls are now a serious risk. If the uncle keeps digging, their whole trafficking business could be exposed, so they decide to keep the girls under tighter control. Katie and Sloane remain chained in the woods, already traumatized from days of abuse. Whenever the guards step away, they whisper about possible ways to escape, even though their hope is fading. Meanwhile, Uncle Jason continues his investigation around town. He visits shops, diners, and offices, but the locals either know nothing or are too afraid to speak. The corrupt sheriff secretly watches his every move and reports back to Boris and the brothers, making sure they stay one step ahead. Back at the camp, customers keep arriving. Katie is eventually chosen and dragged into the trailer, while Sloane is left behind to listen helplessly. When Katie returns, shaken and silent, the two girls hold each other for comfort. Meanwhile, Jason pieces together that the safe word code has been broken. He grows more desperate when Katie fails to send him a new message at all. He heads deeper into the county, determined to find them. Boris, worried that the FBI might uncover their trafficking business, tells Jed to kill Katie and Sloane and dump their bodies, but Katie is secretly listening to the entire conversation. Meanwhile, Jason continues searching for his niece. He goes back to the cafe where he last dropped off the girls and questions the barista, who clearly remembers the blue truck they left in. This gives Jason his first real lead. The next day, Katie warns Sloane that the men are planning to kill them. Not long after, the brothers return with the scruffy man and leave him behind to guard the girls. Katie pretends to flirt with him, and as soon as she gets close enough, she suddenly bites into his throat, killing him. She and Sloane then grab the keys and manage to free themselves from their chains. While they are catching their breath, the sheriff arrives. However, before he can act, Katie and Sloan quickly steal his car and speed away. They drive back into town and stop at a hardware store, where they gather tools and weapons to prepare for revenge. At the counter, they ask the cashier if he knows Boris, the man with the blue truck, and he confirms he does, even pointing them to where Boris lives. At the same time, Jason keeps pushing forward with his investigation. He visits the local car insurance office and pretends he had a minor accident with a blue truck. Using this excuse, he asks who owns it, slowly piecing the truth together. Boris arrives back home, unaware that Katie and Sloan are waiting for him. They ambush him, throwing nail-spiked tennis balls that leave him badly injured. Now, at their mercy, Boris pleads for his life and even offers money if they spare him. At that moment, Uncle Jason pulls up outside. Inside, Katie and Sloan demand that Boris reveal who the pig mask man is. When he refuses, they use a makeshift spear and shove it into him, killing him. By the time Jason enters the house, the girls are already gone. He finds Boris dying on the floor, and as he rushes him to the hospital, Katie and Sloan speed away in their stolen car. Later, Jason is told by the sheriff that Boris didn't survive. Growing more worried, he tries calling Katie's phone. Realizing his cover is blown, the corrupt sheriff pulls out his gun. Meanwhile, Katie and Sloan arrive at a church where the truth is revealed. The pig mask man is actually the town priest. Sloan enters and finally confronts her rapist. With Katie's help, the two overpower him. Driving away afterward, they seem free and carefree. But there's one last twist. The priest is chained behind their truck. They make a stop, pour gasoline over him, and set him on fire before driving off for good. While the girls reclaim their freedom, Uncle Jason is taken captive by the sheriff, who has already trapped two new young women. Just in time, Katie and Sloan arrive to rescue them. They capture the sheriff, tie him up, and punish him with a cruel game of Russian roulette, ending his reign of terror. Katie and Sloan are clearly unhinged now, though it's hard to blame them after everything they have endured. The sheriff begs for mercy, but Katie ends it with a blow to the head. Afterwards, they free the captive women and tell them to release Uncle Jason. When Jason asks who killed the sheriff, the women stay silent out of gratitude for being saved. Next, Katie and Sloan visit Jed and Lucas's mother. They drug her just as she once drugged them, then drag her to the basement where Jed is tied and gagged. In front of his mother, they bash his head in with baseball bats. They then take her to Lucas, who is also tied to a chair. Instead of killing him outright, they hand him a bat and order him to beat his own mother. When he refuses, they shoot him dead and stage his body to look like a suicide, planning to pin all the murders on him. Desperate, the mother offers them money for her life, but Katie kills her with a lawnmower instead. The scene shifts to some time later, as Uncle Jason pulls up at Katie's house to pick up the girls. He drives them to the airport, where Katie and Sloan, finally free, head off excitedly for their long-awaited trip to New York City. This is where the movie ends. Enjoyed the recap? Smash that subscribe button and catch the next one. Also, let us know in the comments if you think Katie and Sloan went too far, or if they got the justice they deserved.